I appreciate you being here. This series is intended to provide actionable aspects in which you can align yourself to the natural laws of one. Everything that I talk about is about aligning to oneness. That means dismantling the your house of maybe demonic energies and rebuilding your spiritual house in alignment with one, which is really what we're all here to evolve into, is to our inner congruence, our inner alignment. And I do that through a process called energy psychology. I help people all around the world realign their energies so they are more aligned to their heart and to their purpose and in alignment to this process of oneness. All of us being here together on this planet, learning and living and growing from one another. So, hi Kevin, good to see you. Today I wanted to talk about the perception deception or the deceptions of perception, however you want to look at it, is really our perceptions can fool us because, we think, we got to see it to believe it. And really, how many of us know what our beliefs really are? Hi, Eric. Good to see you. Most people can't see their beliefs, right? So we got to see it to believe it is a falsehood, which I'm going to do a whole video on our language, but I'm preparing for that. But our deceptions of perception are always going to be based and rooted in our belief system. And how many of us really understand our beliefs, and how many of us really understand if our beliefs are blocking us from seeing what we need to see, experiencing what we need to experience. How many of us believe what we've been told and we didn't challenge it, and therefore we perceive things through that lens of deception, right? It's so big. Hey Ollie, good to see you. Peace on to you as well. My dog is inside today, Kevin. And I only have one, but she's a handful. So the perception of deception, the deception of perception is always going to be tied to and rooted in our belief system. And hey, Paul, good to see you. Paul from Ireland. Why am I wearing flip-flops or shoes? I'm wearing flip-flops because I want to, and I like them. And you didn't even know I was wearing flip-flops, but I am. Hey, so here we are talking about the deception of perception and how it's tied to our beliefs. Now, I didn't want to title this video about beliefs because so many people do not want to challenge their beliefs, and I understand it. The 3D ego mind is always looking to keep things as they are. But if you want to feel better, if you want to feel and live a better life, you're going to have to challenge some of the things you're perceiving. And if you want to get to the root of your perceptions, they will be logged into your beliefs. So you got to unplug from beliefs that are not in alignment with who you're becoming, but also your beliefs that keep you from just being in a space of acceptance, of non-judgment, of the heart, right? So that's really what we're all here to do, is to grow and evolve and to change how we're perceiving things, and what is required to change your perception. Well, first you need to be willing, right? You have to be willing to see things differently. And then you have to be willing to accept whatever is, whether you like it or not. You have to be willing to accept what is. And then once you have those two things done, then you look at, well, what am I seeing and or experiencing that is causing me to feel discord, dis-ease, or pain, right? Because when we are hooked into perceptions and beliefs about things and situations, it can cause us great pain. And when we're in pain, usually we shut down our heart. And when we shut down our heart, we shut down learning. So you really want to look at What is it that you need to learn? If you changed your perception to something that felt better for you, because we create our reality based on our perception, so we get to choose. Did you realize that you have a choice in how you perceive? Always, always, always. So, anyways, I'm interested to see what are you. Oh, Oliver says 100% agree. All right, Oliver, thank you for that. What do you guys think about the deceptions of perceptions? And imagine all those people who watch mainstream media, how deceived so many have been. And why don't we challenge deceptions? Why don't we challenge what we're perceiving? And it's very interesting. I'm doing great. Thank you for being here, everybody. What questions do you have about the deceptions of perception? I don't want to be political, but what do I think about? I don't even know what this is. I have to put my glasses on. What do I think about storm cloaks in Windham? I don't think anything about it. I haven't given it any thought. So I'm not sure that helps you. But I would say it doesn't matter what you think. How does what you think, how is what you're thinking making you feel inside? Because that is the guidance tool, is how you feel inside. And if you can change your thinking about what you're seeing, can you find a thought or a series of thoughts that you can agree with, that is a better feeling and still alignment to truth? That's the task. Kevin, when we make a decision about making a meal, is it God saying we need to eat? Often, Kevin, that is conditioning, which is not the same as listening to your inner rhythms, which are, or would be, if you were in connection to your heart, in alignment with God. So often foods that we're craving or we're eating and the time we eat is based on conditioning. So when you go out of conditioning and you relearn how to eat in alignment with yourself, then you can eat differently. But that's a conditioning and a training and a practice to eat in resonance. Like, I know that I used to eat very healthy, but it wasn't healthy for my body. So what I thought was healthy didn't matter because my body was not in agreement with what I was eating, even though I thought it was healthy. So when I changed how I was eating to go in alignment with what was actually for my body, it changed how I thought about what I was doing. So I would say I was deceptively perceiving that I was eating healthy. And the truth was, it wasn't healthy at all. Hey, Wendy, good to see you. This topic's for you, girl. Russell, have a look at NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. This can help you. You readjust your associations of your perceptions. Sure, Russell. There's a whole bunch of different studies on that. I am not an NLP fanatic or trained, and that's not my forte. But I know a lot of people are and do believe in what they're saying. So good for you that you found something. Our perceptions really change how we experience life, how we experience situations, how we experience people. Lady Dasha is saying, are we living in an age of retribution? Well, that would depend on your perceptions, lady, right? Like how you're perceiving retribution and how I'm perceiving it, it would be different. If your question is the collective consciousness living in an age of redistribution, I would say we're in the dark night of the soul and we are waking up. Casey is saying, what is my favorite chapter in the Bible? I do not Read the Bible. I will tell you, I did go to a Bible study to learn about what Christians thought and believed and how they did Bible studies, and I learned that it's not for me. I did not enjoy it. I found the woman who was leading the study to be very incongruent and would talk a good talk, but didn't walk the walk. And I didn't like that. And that was the same experience I had about going to church. But Kevin, I did not see any text from you. I'm sorry. If you signed up for my email list, that would probably be the best way to get in touch with me, Kevin. Anyways, let's see. Wendy, any thoughts, questions? Kevin, what is the weather like where everybody is? Ali, okay, the truth is not comfortable. Yes, Ali, in fact, I spent a good couple months really discerning my perceptions of uncomfortable or comfort. And really, I did a whole slew of videos about comfort. But I think it's important that we start to challenge our ideas about what's comfortable. Why is it we start to lie at a young age, but when we go to God, we must leave the ego aside? That's a deep question there, Ali. You know, I think this is my understanding of our birthing, and we get birthed into families, and we have lineages of many karmic overlays, many lessons, for some people, many people, curses, takeovers, all kinds of energy stuff going on when we get born into our life, and we're here to clear that all. And the ego is where we get manipulated. So to learn to balance the ego and to not have the ego structures determining your perceptions is the walk of the Christ consciousness, right? That is the walk. Richard, God is good. Yeah. Eric, it's sunny in Spartanburg. All right. Richard is asking, so you fear God? I think that's a question. I pray all day, every day. I don't fear God at all. I feel so connected, so loved, so in alignment with God. So no, I don't fear God at all. And I pray all the time. I love it. It makes me feel good. We can't clear it, only Jesus can. TW, you are a co-creator, so you have to realign how you think your energy systems work. And I would suggest you go listen to some of these videos, because you have something that's called free will, and that cannot be overridden unless you do not co-create with it, meaning something else will take over, and it will probably not be Jesus, because Jesus would not impose on your free will. As somebody, Raymond is saying, if I say my great grandfather was a murderer and a bad man, does that make it karmically affect my generations of later? It depends on if that would depend on your beliefs, number one, Raymond. And it would also depend on your perceptions of and or judgments of your grandfather, because that gets imprinted in who we are. So we got to be really careful. And I would say just because you have karmic overlays and you've accepted them and not cleared them, will that be transferred down? Chances are it can be, but you might have an encounter with a spiritual being that shifts that entire experience for you. So nothing is in stone. It's all up for being healed and cleared, especially now. Russell, of your thought matrix and your perceptions of all thoughts, triggers, and subsequent perceptions. It can help to single them out and to identify them in sequence. Russell, one of the things that I agree with is that we must be consciously aware, and what you're suggesting is that we must be aware of our thoughts so we can untangle the entanglement, and I agree with you 100%. TW, have you ever considered why there are so many scriptures about and interpretations? Have you ever wondered why there's so many of those? Why don't you go to the original text? That would be really helpful. Go to the original text and look at the original interpretation from the language in which it was given, and then see if you agree with the same perceptions. Wendy, perhaps I answered this already. I find it difficult to know when to challenge my perceptions on most occasions until long after it all. What is the hack to become more aware? That's a good one. The hack is to know that it's always good to look at your perceptions. The hack to awareness is to identify when you've been triggered. I think triggers are gifts. And so if you can understand and know, like, what do you feel like when you're triggered? So what do your triggers feel like inside of you? Do you feel it in your heart? Do you feel it in your throat? Do you get tight in your throat? Do your hands sweat? Like, there might be some physiological reactions within your body. You might also notice, like, who does he think he is? Like, those types of reactions. Or, oh, you called somebody a name in your head, like they're a jerk. That would be when you want to start to challenge your ideas about what it is that you're perceiving, and see if what you're perceiving is even in alignment with you. So, for example, so that's just a list of some things that you might be able to know. How to become aware. I think, in the beginning, it's a good practice to put a reminder on your phone. And ask yourself an open-ended question, like every hour, is there anything that happened in the past hour that I need to be aware of? And you sit and you listen and you scan the last hour. Okay, no, go to the next hour. And so it's a good way to check in with yourself. Now, that requires a lot of discipline, and a lot of people don't want to be reminded to think. Because we're thinking all the time. But you want to be reminded to think in alignment with who you're becoming, not with who you've been. So reminders are a good thing to check in with yourself about that stuff. But I think perceptions are always good to look at. But more importantly, what is the belief behind the perception that makes the perception so painful? Because there's always going to be a belief there. And the belief is not going to be about what you believing about these people. It's like, what does that say about you? If you know who you are, if you know what you are, and you know who you serve and how you serve, then who people are, you can accept them. You just need to be realigned to who you are. Because your perception will be separate from who you are. If it's causing any pain or discord, it's going to be a perception of separation. Good night, Kevin. Ali, I have submitted my free will to the will of God. Since God knows, I don't know. Well, that's a very courageous thing to do. Let's see how co-creation goes with that, Ali. You'll be a magnificent co-creator, I bet. He is the one who cleared my debt. The only one who could be without Jesus is covered in sin. TW, your judgments really are very painful to even read. So I wish the best for you. I wish that you find your way to non-judgment of those who believe and think and act in life in alignment with their own truth in relationship to God. That your God is not the only God, that we all are here on our path. And this obviously is probably not the channel for you, or maybe it's exactly what you need to hear, because judgment is what keeps you separate from God. So go for it. So what makes you think that the scripture in Greek is the original scripture? Maybe you should go challenge that. Wendy, oh good, I'm glad that was helpful. Russell, dad joke. What did the spiritually aware and aligned person order when they went to Subway? No idea. I'm horrible at jokes, Russell. Make me one with everything. I love it, Russell. That's a good one. Make me one with everything. We are one. Everything is just a reflection. Just like I'm reflecting back to TW, whether TW wants to understand how he is perceiving me is how he's perceiving himself. You know, that's for him. I'm not here to challenge him. Maybe I am. Ali, Kiana, what do you know about the evil within? Have you ever dig into it? I don't really look at things in between good and evil. I don't look at things like that. So if you're asking me, have I ever witnessed or experienced darkness? The answer is yes. TW is asking, what do you mean co-creator? I mean that we are always co-creating with source energy and creator. That is God. God is love. All is love. We are love. You are loved. All is God. It's simple. And nothing happens without us co-creating. So that means that everything you are experiencing is you experiencing it in connection with God, but also that you are in agreement with it. So if you are experiencing things that you're not in agreement with, that's up to you to identify, locate, reveal, and cancel those agreements. Only you can do that. TW, I'm not here to debate with you. In fact, I don't want to debate with you at all. That's not what this channel is about. This is about being in alignment. This is about being in sync. This is about being congruent within. And if you want to debate, that's another channel. I believe in Christ consciousness, which is different. Most Christians are tied to a dogma, and the dogma is tied to a Bible. I'm tied to the energies of what I feel. Hi, Rosa. I've been looking for you. There's a Rose that's been joining us, and I always think, oh, is that Rosa? Hi, Rosa. So good to see you. Always, always, always. I love seeing you in the chat here. I see angel numbers. Yes, I see angel number. I see numbers all the time. The most frequent one I've been seeing for the last couple months is 123, 1234, 4, 432. I see it all like in sequence. TW, I'm sorry, you're going to have to remove yourself from this channel. You know, you just keep on talking about things that we're not talking about here. So I wish you the best of luck. Rosa's saying, how not to be deceived by perception. The best way is to check your beliefs, Rosa, and see if the beliefs that you have and hold in alignment with that perception, are they aligned with oneness? Are they aligned with the natural laws? Are they aligned with God? Are they aligned with Creator? Are they aligned with kindness, love, like whatever your beliefs are? I believe in oneness, so I'm just going to say, is this belief in alignment with the belief of God? And the answer is no. Then I look to change that belief, like unhook from it and realign, because I look to have my entire life aligned to the natural laws. Does that work all the time? No, of course. I'm here. I'm practicing. I'm doing this with y'all. We're all here to learn and grow, and nobody here is better than another. We're all just one big reflection of each other. Raymond's saying he sees a lot of 444s and 555s. Yeah, Numbers are, well, here's the thing about numbers. Everything is a code, right? Everything is coded, everything is numbers. So I think if, somebody wanted to do some extracurricular stuff, I'm not an expert in it, but learning about sacred geometry is really interesting. And also, I would say, for me, like when I was getting no codes, I didn't know I was getting codes. I didn't know that everything, this is before I was taught meaning learned, that everything has a code. Everything has a code. And numbers are codes. So we want to learn to unlock and decode our experiences. And I think it's really important to do that. Even light languages is codes, right? It's coming in symbols and codes, and we need to interpret them. So, before light, there was darkness. Darkness still exists and rules much of the world. Be aware of it. Saves us from the days of regret. I think awareness is everything. I think a lot of people do not want to acknowledge that there are shadows, darkness. Like, how do we know? How do we have more awareness? Going back to Wendy's original question, how can I be more aware? You got to be able to look in the shadows. Because if you're not willing to look in the shadows and see the darkness, then you will not be able to shed your light on it. You can't see. You must be willing to see your shadow side. That means that aspect of that you have been blind to, the blind spots. It's all so important. There's a lot of words about that. I don't, Satan and perspection. Nick, I'm not really sure what you're asking here. Is he's saying is the devil? I don't even know what that word perspection. Is that perspective? I would say if you're talking about demonic energies, can somebody follow demonic? Yes. Do people follow demonic energy? Yes. Do they often know that it's demonic? It's not often very clear when it's demonic or not. That's why we must be attuned to our perception and what our body is telling us, because it will always tell us what the truth is. And you can get fooled because there are imposters out there for sure. So that's what I have to say about the deception of perception. Salvo, not everybody likes that tree. I love it. I think it's so pretty and green, but not everybody likes it. So I appreciate it. Most people in here tell me to cut it. But I come out here because I like the green. I think it's beautiful. Am I matching the green today? Yeah, so that's what I have to say about, I think those are good questions. Any other questions about, when somebody tells you a lie and you believe it, and then you experience something else, and you still listen and talk to the person who lied, what does that mean? Does that have meaning? Well, it can. A lot of people have an addiction to suffering, and suffering requires liars, right? You can't align to the truth 100% and realign to the truth because, wow, then you couldn't continue to suffering. Like some people really have an addiction to suffering. Raymond's saying, I think our awareness grows when we let go and realize we can't sufficiently explain reality and the universe at the moment, and that's okay. I also love hearing theories and ideas about how things work. Well, there's lots of theories and ideas about how things work, and then there's actually how things actually work. And the best way to learn is through experience. What if you are trying to give someone a second chance. What do you mean? What do you? So if you give them a second chance, you've accepted that they have chosen whatever they were choosing, and you accept them totally, right? But do you accept them and then? I had a girlfriend that used to always say, turn the other cheek. She was very Christian. She's like, I'm turning the other cheek. And she'd go back for more and more and more. And she was just getting brutality. But we must have boundaries, you see. You are a co-creator. And if you are in agreement with getting beat up, you keep going back to the liar, because the liar will always lie. They don't do anything else but lie. So do you accept that somebody believes their lies? Yeah. And then you say, okay, they believe their lies. So does that make them a liar? Yes. So if somebody is believing the lies and you are still in alignment with them, does that mean you are in agreement with a liar? Yes. Right? Like you're lying to yourself if you think you're not. Right? So don't be in denial of yourself. Don't deny the truth. Dean says, I'm not sure experience is the best way to learn. I think it's best to learn from other people's mistakes. Yeah, if you're wise enough to attune to that. I think experiential learning is really powerful, and here's why. It changes who we are at a cellular level. That's one reason why I love taking my clients out to work with the horses, is because the horses are so gentle and they give really powerful message in a way that people can take in better than reading it from the book. You can read this stuff in a book. You can experience it and you'll never forget it. Ali says, a strong person is not one who can overcome his enemy in the battlefield, but a person who can forgive his enemy while he's still able to take revenge. That's deep. Santi, Pat. It's like taking a deep breath of fresh air and having been struggling to swim to the surface under exhaustion. Go ahead and tell yourself, Christ is all and in all. Yeah, Christ consciousness is in all. See, I think the issue is that people have ideas and beliefs about what Christ is based on what they learned in church, based on what they were told from an interpretation of a book that they were then given interpretations of, and those are often misled. And so what we want to understand is that it's not about Christ, a person, but Christ consciousness. And the answer is yes. Dean is saying, I see what you mean. Yeah, Dean, it's so powerful. I've always, even in all my sessions with my clients, I always do experiential learning. I want them to feel, see, and sense the energies. So then they can read energy differently. Horses are such beautiful, sensitive creatures. I would say some of my most powerful learning has come from horses, yes. Okay, Salvo is saying, okay, this is something I've been dealing with right now. What if they are a liar, but they are family? Hey, welcome to the club. Like, families lie. Okay, people are people. So you can still love somebody and accept them as they are. But then you have to see and ask yourself, am I in agreement with people who lie? Whether they're family or not. And if the answer is no, I'm not in agreement with people that lie, that means you must change your behavior in relationship to those people. And that might require not spending as much time with them. And now that can be painful because we're conditioned to be in connection with family, and much of that family can be toxic. And so you need to understand that when you are in a family of toxicity, you are never excluded, okay? Even though you think you know, you cannot be excluded from the toxicity. So think of it like sepsis. Sepsis is an infection of the blood. When sepsis enters the body and the systems, all systems are impacted and they shut down. They all shut down. So shut down is constriction, restriction, oppression, suppression. Those are good examples of what shutdown shows up as. When you go into that with the thought that you won't be poisoned, you're incorrect. Because those energies are parasitic, parasites, meaning they take life force from everybody. Nobody is excluded. They will suck the life out of you and you won't even know that they're doing it. That's how liars work. So the Trinity is not a lie. I agree, Nick, the Trinity is not a lie. Salvo says, I have a certain disgust towards this person. That's called a toxic stream. Okay, that's a good awareness, Salvo. Toxic stream work just like sepsis. So what you want to do is clean and clear that toxic stream with that relationship. Salvo is saying, I don't know how to act around them, and sometimes I don't want to be around them at all. That's because it's toxic. So when you have sepsis or you have toxic streams, when you're around those people, they trigger it. And so it floods more. So that's why you don't want to be around them. Why don't you want to be around them? Because it's not healthy. It's not. Why do you want to be around people that aren't healthy to be around? Oh, out of love? That's not even love. That's obligation. Get it correct. That's not love. It's obligation. Well, it depends, Nick, on how you're looking at it. Trinity is the most toxic atmosphere at all. Are you talking about Trinity or are you talking about a triangle? I'm getting confused here. But anyhow, I hope this was helpful about toxic stream. I think Salvo, your awareness is astute. So now your responsibility is to clean up the toxic stream within your own mind, within your own thoughts. That's your responsibility, not that other person. They are the gift that's triggering your awareness. Now your awareness is your responsibility. It's your responsibility to clean up your end of the street, meaning you want to set up some boundaries, number one. Number two, you want to rethink what your beliefs are about love, and you want to rethink what your beliefs are about obligation, and you want to understand that when you understand that you have toxic streams in your thoughts about people, places, things, situations, that it's your toxicity. It's yours. It's in your energy field. That means you're responsible for it, which means that you have the power to clean it up. And if you clean it up, then it's clean. Now, how do you know if it's clean? You won't be triggered. How do you know if it's healed? You'll be at peace. That's how you'll know. I have a video about toxic streams on the Being in Sync channel. It's about, it says toxic streams on it. So go check that out. How do humans come together as one when there are always multiple perceptions of reality? True. Some will complement and some will clash. How do we progress collectively? We start with our own perspective. And number one person can cause a ripple. So we don't ever negate our ability to change the entire collective by waking up and attuning to what is real for you. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. They're just a reflection. The outside is just a reflection of the inside. So when you understand that, now you have the ability to progress and know that as you are united within, as you clean up your thoughts, as you disengage from the ego mind and connect to the heart and connect with real streams of consciousness that are of higher frequencies, you are doing a great service to humanity. That's what we're all here to do. We are all in this together, and We can all heal and unify, but we can't do it from a place of separation. We must understand that who we are impacts others every single day in so many ways. So, I am Kiana Sage, and I guide people to peace. I hope you found this helpful and insightful, and I will be back again tomorrow. And prayer can change density. Yes, it can, Ollie. Have a great day. Bye.